coming from Washington, D.C. to come to this beautiful, beautiful Bay Area. It just reminds me just about how lucky we are and how proud I am to be from the Bay Area. I want to say that Supervisor Carson was very gracious in his introduction, but I also want to say we were both disciples or children of John George, and I'm so happy to be a part of him remembering where he comes from and to being community-minded. And that's sort of what I brought here with the company that I now work with, DRC Group. You'll be hearing from my colleague in a minute, Mike Cooney, who will tell you a little bit more about what we do. But Chief Gilbert was right. There is a piece that's called recovery, and that's extremely important. What happens to the debris? Should there be a lot of debris, for homes that needs to be removed, and you're standing there looking and say, how am I going to do this? What happens when you need to deal with FEMA, when there's loans and those kinds of things, and we have that expertise? What happens, how do you get heavy equipment in and to be able to respond? And I'm so proud of the company that I'm now associated with, because when that earthquake hit in Haiti, they were there within 24 hours of that earthquake.
Some of us can't hear you.
I'm sorry. Is this better?
Yes.
Okay. I said I'm so proud of the company DRC Group that I'm with, because in their response, we didn't even wait to get a call. And within 24 hours of the earthquake hitting in Haiti, we were there. And so I know this, you got to be right on top of it here. So with that, because I know you have a very full day, I just want you to understand a little bit more, and Mike will be more specific about what we do with respect to recovery, where you move all the debris. What happens when you deal with the loans that you will need to have afterwards. We've spoken to ABAD, the governmental agency that includes all the 13 cities and the counties around here, and that can help you. Those are all the things that we help put in place when it comes to the recovery. And so to be a little bit more specific, I would like to turn the microphone over to Mike. I hope you heard at least most of what I said, and thank you so much for having me back at home.
Thanks for that. DRC, we've just entered our 22nd year in disaster recovery. We do disaster recovery worldwide. That's not only been in Haiti, in the Kosovo, Samoa, Guam. This year alone, we responded to the Hurricane Irene, the floods in the Dakotas. And what we do is, as the chief was saying, we're the company that comes in and helps out with the FEMA process. We're the company that comes in and helps with the cleanup. In the case of an event here, say it was an earthquake here, we'd be the first responder company to come in with the equipment, machines, disaster know-how of how to quickly respond to it, how to quickly clean it up, how to quickly have FEMA and the funding and all those things in place to get you back to your normal life. We offer other things besides just disaster removal. We do the debris management of the disaster debris, which is when we clean it up, we quickly set up sites so we can get the debris cleaned up quickly, reduced. We recycle the majority of the debris. So we're very cognizant of the green movement. In the event that like a tsunami would hit here or something like that, we have extensive marine experience in disaster relief. So we know exactly what to do. This is what we do, 365 days a year for 22 years. We work solely with the directors and the EMA people here in the county to give them exactly what they need in the event and FEMA, so that we can have everybody back to their daily lives as quickly as possible. So that's basically just in a nutshell what we do. Thank you.
We also want to work very closely with the community. I actually learned about CARD, and I was just so impressed with what they did, and we reached out to them because the most vulnerable population is also important. We were also there in Louisiana with Katrina, so we can sort of, help when it comes to needing food and water and those kinds of things as well. And the other thing that's important to us is the whole community aspect of it. That's important because we know that when you use people that here or you're working with people from this community, it's going to be responded to quickly because this is your family, these are your neighbors, this is your homes, and that was also one of my major interests. I have 4 generations of family in this county. So what happens when, and having them prepared is important to me. And so with that, I have the distinct honor of calling and bringing back up Supervisor Chief Carson, who's one of my favorite people. And then he's still good looking. He don't look a day older than he did when I met him.
I can't hear you.
But you don't look a day older than you did 30 years ago.
It took me a little longer to get up them steps. Thank you to the early presenters this morning. I want to make sure that this is interactive throughout the day. And so there may be some questions for any of the early presenters before we get to some of our more direct community presenters, those who you may more interact with from a community base. Are there questions? Any questions to, yes? And I'm going to ask maybe if our presenters have come up. I'm sorry, I should have had you both of you stay here to answer the questions that might be asked. Feel free to stand up and yell out your question. Stand up, speak up loud because we have people in the front. Or if you want to come up, come up. So the question becomes, and they talked about hazardous disasters as well, which given the fact that we do have a lot of national laboratories in and around the area, there have been in other locations the potential for biomedical or bio or nuclear kinds of activities. How do we respond to those? I think that's the general gist of your question.
Well, thank you. On the law enforcement side, we have, through Urban Shield, we put out the chemical suits that the individuals are supposed to wear for protection to walk into any type of area. And any type of area that's been deemed by the fire department as to be unsafe, but we still have to enter to see what the issues are. We have robots and sensors and detectors that will report back to us on how we should best respond. Then we gather the information, create a flume environment so we know what the safety zones are, and respond from there.
We provide fire protection to both the Lawrence Berkeley and Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory, and there are some nuclear work that is done out at Lawrence Livermore. I'm not aware of any that's done at Lawrence Berkeley, but in either case, we have 16 to 17 hazardous materials specialists on duty 24/7. We have extensive equipment in radiological monitoring, response, and mitigation. We practice on that on a regular basis. And that is something that we work very closely with the Berkeley Fire Department and the Oakland Fire Department that also have hazmat teams. And we work together for any sort of response to the university as far as research or anything, not only for nuclear, but any sort of hazardous materials incident. So it's a very well exercised system. That was part of the Urban Shield exercise, as we had 14 hazardous materials teams compete against each other. And your county hazmat team came out number 4 of 14. So I think we're ready, and we certainly are watching that very, very closely and are aware of all the materials that exist at both laboratories.
Go ahead.
I have 2 questions. Now that PG&E controls our gas and electric remotely through utility smart meters, will we still be able to shut off the gas at our homes in case PG&E is hit by an earthquake and their remote system fails? And I have one other question. Do you have a backup emergency confirm this as predicted by the National Academy of Sciences between the years of 2011 and 2012. So I'm asking about our gas in our homes and also your communications backup system.
On the gas meter side, the smart meters are a meter that measures the individual usage versus what they used to do, which is to read the meters. It does not, to my knowledge, impact the ability for us to shut them off, as we normally teach people to do during our community emergency response training.
Can we do it? Well,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Can you, as an individual homeowner or building owner or occupant, shut off your natural gas if they have a smart meter? And the answer is yes, you can. And we will train you how to do that, and the local jurisdictions, when they speak, I'm sure will reference that you get trained how to do that when you take the emergency response training courses within your community. The second was on a cyberspace attack or technology. On the fire side of things, in addition to using satellite and computer, we also have VHF and 800, so we have 4 different mechanisms to talk. So we are very reasonably confident one of those will stay intact, regardless of what's attacked from a cybersecurity issue, and I think the sheriff can probably comment on that further.
And we do test our redundancy in communication. We tested it during Urban Shield just this weekend. And we did test radio communication, digital communication over a 4G LTE network. We tested it through a landline phone system, and we also did our satellite system as well. All of those components worked simultaneously, and we didn't find any issues.
What? If it's a solar storm, it's supposed to knock out everything. Satellites.
We have mobile teams that were a partner in Urban Shield, like Cisco and Loho, that came out and set up command vehicles that were mobile, that could be in place. They utilize them throughout the world in disasters in Japan and throughout our nation. And those systems were brought out, tested, and work perfectly. They can report. They have a redundancy program where they have systems in California, Tennessee, and Washington, D.C. that they can direct connect to those and feedback to our area.
All of our critical data is also backed up out of state. So we have a secondary access point at another state if we needed to, if everything in California became disabled.
There seem to be several questions. If you want to line up so that the other people can hear you when you ask your questions, could you come forward if you have questions, please? While you're coming forward,
Just go home. Some questions
I
there.
just want to ask quickly, I'm part of the North Berkeley MPREP group, and we wanted to know exactly what walkie-talkies would work in case all the phones are down. What system should we have?
As a rule of thumb, the research for most disasters is showing that some of the cell companies have had reasonably good coverage, especially when it comes to texting, even if you've lost some of your phone capabilities. But certainly there are line-of-sight radios you can buy at Costco or the store or anywhere else you might shop that basically repeat off of each other. That would probably work even if there was some major infrastructure damage. In addition, ham operators are a big part of emergency response, and most cities and jurisdictions have ham radios integrated into their emergency communications, and they are something that would continue to work most likely even if major cell sites were down.
And we tested our ham radio system as well over this last weekend. And the problems we have with radio are buildings create interference, and different frequencies create interferences. So the line of sight, you'd have to know which area you want to have coverage for your own personal radio system.
next question.
Let's see, a question for fire. I think you were talking about this a little bit. In the 91 fire, there was numerous reported equipment incompatibilities. I think you mentioned the radio frequencies. There's an issue with hydrants and the ability to tie the hoses into the hydrants, especially with equipment coming.
Maybe my friend from fire could come up too, but I think the two major reported issues were communication issues and hydrant fittings that weren't standard fittings. And we have two things that have happened since then. Oakland has standardized their fitting size up in the hills for new hydrants and new water systems, which many of them have been redone. For those that do exist, we also have all adapters for all the engines in Alameda County who may respond. So that should be a non-issue. The communications, as I stated, we're dealing on a VHF radio system statewide now. We have compatibility with our P25 compliant 800 megahertz systems. We drill on a regular basis. And since that fire, there have been significant automatic aid and mutual response area agreements signed between Berkeley, Oakland, and Alameda County, so that on the borders and on the fringe, nobody has to ask if the conditions are met, we all go. And so that has helped. And then we've also integrated our mutual aid request system so that things happen a lot quicker and a lot more seamlessly.
Thank you.
I am not quite sure who to address my questions to. I have a bit of a two-parter. One is, I was surprised not to see anybody from East Bay Mud or PJV here because they are so critical in terms of the functions that they perform, and because recently it took East Bay Mud 2 or 3 hours to turn off the fire hydrant because they didn't know where to turn it off. That's a serious problem for me. Beyond that, we're talking about preparedness. I live in one of the many soft-story buildings which has no retrofitting. It's already a bit crumbly without the help of an earthquake. And so I'd really like to talk, have people address what lieutenants such as I have as our, resources. We can help ourselves by putting a few things aside, but then when the building's down around our ears, I'm not sure quite where we go.
Okay, we have two more individuals who've lined up for questions, and we do have, after they respond to these next couple of questions, individuals who are going to be out in and around the other rooms who are going to give you a little taste of what you will get from them, which may even dig deeper into your lines of questioning. So, and we'll have them to briefly let you know what's going to happen in each of their areas in just a minute.
I'll speak to the soft stories, and I'll let the sheriff speak to East Bay Mud involvement in the regional drills. Soft stories were identified as a major issue after the Loma Prieta earthquake. It was demonstrated again in the Northridge earthquake. I cannot speak specifically because I do not know where you live, but most cities in the Alameda County have had some sort of evaluation of their soft story structures. Any sort of tenant improvements or anything, you've usually resulted in mandating shoring up of those facilities. In some cases, in some jurisdictions, there was some assistance and or resources available to help residents or owners get that kind of work done. So I would propose that you go and meet with the Oakland or Berkeley Fire Department table today and talk with them. I'm sure there's some resources locally. If you live in the county and unincorporated area, you can come talk to us and I can put you in touch with some resources also. As far as East Bay Mud, I'll let the sheriff take a shot at that.
Okay, East Bay Mud is a big help with our Office of Emergency Services. They've identified and walked us through any of their infrastructure sites that they have, at their water treatment plants, at the water storage plants that they have. And they have quarterly meetings that either I personally attend or my staff attends in regards to disaster, their preparedness, their training, and what's going on with East Bay Mud. So they are a big part of this community and are a very active player. And they assisted us with 2 scenarios this year, one at a water storage plant in the hills of Oakland and a water treatment plant down right off of 880 near 580. So we get along very well with East Bay Mud. They do a great job.
Hello there. I am a block captain of a block that's close to this one. And my neighbor asked a very good question about our 10 radios that were given out by our fire department as a part of our emergency preparedness. And we have taken radio courses for communications within our blocks. But there was some question as to whether we can contact a central dispatcher. And that's the question that my neighbor was asking, do you, as a county, do you understand our individual CERT preparedness in relationship to our handheld radios and getting in touch with us?
So the way the system is designed to work is those radios are distributed to you by your Berkeley Fire Department, and they will be coordinating information coming from their CERT teams into the city's Emergency Operations Center. From there, if the city needs assistance or resources beyond the city's capabilities, they would then contact the county Emergency Operations Center, and then we would then begin to respond on a regional basis. So yes, your information does end up at the county EOC. No, you do not talk to us directly. You talk to your city EOC, and then they pass it to us, and if we can't fill it, we pass it to the state.
There's a lot of coordination with the Alameda County, but Berkeley sits on a border with Contra County. And so if there were some type of fire emergency up in the Berkeley, on the Berkeley-Kensington border, you have a similar problem as in those fires. I wonder if you could comment on what your relationship is with Contra County.
Good question. And there are automatic aid and mutual aid agreements on the Contra Costa County side also for jurisdictions that respond in, such as Arena Moraga, El Cerrito, and others. We're seamless. We provide not only mutual aid coordination for Alameda County, but Region 2. We have the ability as a region coordinator to request resources immediately from Contra Costa County, and we do that on a regular basis. In addition to that, since the 91 firestorm and the 89 earthquake, we've also identified incident management teams that have representation from both Alameda and Contra Costa County. So you get overhead, if you will, chief officers or people supervising overhead from both counties in a seamless and in a very timely manner. Yeah, EBRs, yes.
On that question, I'd also add that the East Bay Regional Park District has a fire unit and has the jurisdiction for those areas between, overlapping Contra Costa, Alameda, the areas that you mentioned, and they're integrated with both Alameda and Contra Costa Emergency Services. So in that regard, we're in good shape.
I want to again thank our first round of presenters for giving us some overview of the coordination, the preparedness, the interaction that they have within all of the various jurisdictions, be they fire, be they law enforcement, be they healthcare, social services, community-based organizations, school districts, senior facilities, and also have some way of which we take care of our pets as well. All that information is kind of filtered in through a command location, working on a regular basis to coordinate these activities. And so again, I want to thank you for your tireless efforts that you give us on a daily basis to prepare the residents of Alameda County and Contra Costa counties to some extent for the next disaster. Thank you very, very much.